My daughter-in-law threw my medicine in the trash and said old people don't need so many pills. I walked to the pharmacy myself. When I came back, the house was quiet. What I did with the security footage ended everything. Family story. I still remember the sound of those orange bottles hitting the bottom of the kitchen trash can. It was a soft plastic clatter, almost polite, like she was trying not to wake anybody. But I was already awake. I had been sitting at the table with my coffee going cold, watching the morning light come through the blinds in that same tired way it always did in our little brick ranch on Maple Court. My name is not important. What matters is that I am 71 years old and my heart still needs the blue pill every morning and the white one at night. The doctor was clear about that after the scare last winter. My son Derek and his wife Kelsey had moved me into the spare room after my husband passed. They said it was temporary. Temporary turned into 2 years of me listening to them argue through the wall about money, about the kids, about how much space I took up. That morning Kelsey came into the kitchen in her workout clothes, hair in a high ponytail, looking like she had already decided the day belonged to her. She opened the cabinet where I keep my pills, the one with the child-proof lock I never bothered with because my hands shake too much. She pulled out every bottle. The blood pressure ones. The blood thinner. The little white ones for my heart rhythm. She carried them to the trash like they were empty soda cans. I said her name. Just once. Soft. She didn't even turn around at first. She dropped them in, then closed the lid, then looked at me with that bright, practiced smile she used on the neighbors when they asked how I was doing. Old people don't need so many pills, she said. Half of them are just making you worse. You're always tired. You're always in the bathroom. Maybe if you stopped taking all that stuff you'd feel better. Derek agrees with me. I sat there with my hands flat on the table so they wouldn't shake in front of her. I asked her where the bottles were going. She shrugged and said the trash truck came on Thursdays and it was already Wednesday. Then she left for her spin class like nothing had happened. I waited until the garage door went up and the car pulled out. Then I stood up and opened the trash. The bottles were still there, some of them cracked from the fall. I pulled them out one by one, wiped the coffee grounds off with a paper towel, and set them on the counter. Most of them still had pills left. But the one that mattered most, the blue heart pill, was almost empty. I had 3 left. 3. I put on my shoes. The old white sneakers with the Velcro because laces take too long now. I took my purse and the house key and I walked. Maple Court to Oak Street to the little strip mall where the pharmacy still had the same faded red awning it had when my husband used to drive me there. It was almost a mile. My knees complained the whole way. A woman walking her dog nodded at me and I nodded back like everything was fine. The pharmacist knew me. She always did. She looked at the bottles, looked at my face, and didn't ask questions. She refilled what she could right then and put the rest on order. I paid with the debit card Derek had given me 4 small things. I put the new bottles in my purse and started the walk home. The house was quiet when I got back. Not the usual quiet of people being gone. A different quiet. The kind that sits in the corners and waits. Derek's truck was in the driveway. Kelsey's car was gone again. I opened the front door and stepped inside. The living room looked the same. The throw pillows were still perfectly arranged the way Kelsey liked them. The television was off. No sound of the kids. Our grandson Mason was at school. Our granddaughter Ava was at her friend's house for the day. I had expected that. I went to the kitchen first. The trash can was empty. Someone had taken the bag out while I was gone. The counter was wiped clean. My old bottles were gone. Only the new ones in my purse remained. I stood there for a long time listening. Then I heard the soft click of a door upstairs. The master bedroom door. I climbed the stairs slower than usual, holding the railing with both hands. The door was closed. I put my ear against it and heard Derek's voice, low, and Kelsey's voice answering him. They were talking about me. I didn't knock. I just went back downstairs and sat on the couch. My heart was doing that fluttery thing it does when the pills are late. I took one of the new blue ones with a sip of water from the bottle I kept by the chair. Then I remembered the cameras. Derek had installed them 2 summers ago after someone stole packages from 3 houses on the street. There was one under the front porch, one in the garage, one in the living room pointed at the front door, and one in the kitchen. He had shown me how to open the app on the tablet he left on the kitchen counter in case anything happens while we're out. I had never used it for more than checking if the mail had come. I opened the app. The login was still saved. I scrolled back to that morning. The kitchen camera caught everything. Kelsey walking in. Kelsey opening the cabinet. Kelsey carrying the bottles to the trash. The sound was clear enough. Her voice saying those words. Old people don't need so many pills. Then me, later, pulling the bottles back out. Then the front door camera catching me leaving the house with my purse. Then, 40 minutes later, Derek's truck pulling into the driveway. Derek walking into the kitchen. Derek looking at the open trash can. Derek taking the bag out and carrying it to the garage. Then Kelsey coming home, the 2 of them standing in the kitchen talking, their voices low but the camera still picking up enough. I watched it twice. Then I saved the clip to the tablet. I emailed it to myself. Then I emailed it to the one person who still answered when I called. My sister Diane lives 2 towns over. She is 68 and still drives. She came within the hour. She didn't say much when I showed her the video. She just put her hand on my shoulder and said, "Pack a bag." I packed what I needed. The new pills. A few clothes. The photo of my husband that still sat on the nightstand. Diane waited in the living room while I did it. Derek came downstairs when he heard the front door. He looked at Diane, then at me, then at the tablet still open on the coffee table. I didn't raise my voice. I just told him I had watched the security footage. I told him I had the recording of his wife throwing my medicine away and of him cleaning up after her. I told him the pharmacy had already called my cardiologist to confirm the refill. I told him I was leaving with my sister for a while. Kelsey came down the stairs behind him. Her face was carefully blank at first. Then she saw the tablet and the blankness cracked. She started talking fast. She said she was only trying to help. She said the pills made me foggy. She said she had read online that older people take too many medications. She said Derek knew. She said they were both worried about me. Derek didn't say anything for a long time. He just stood there with his hands in his pockets looking at the floor the way he used to when he was a boy and had broken something. Finally he looked up and asked if I was okay. I told him my heart was still beating and that was more than I expected after this morning. Diane and I left through the front door. The porch camera would have caught that too. We drove to her house in silence for the first few miles. Then she asked if I wanted to press charges or talk to a lawyer. I said not yet. I said I just wanted to sleep in a bed where nobody was deciding what my body needed without asking me. That night I took my pills at the right time. I sat on Diane's back porch and listened to the ordinary sounds of a different neighborhood. A dog barking. A garage door going down. Someone laughing 2 houses over. My phone stayed quiet. No calls from Derek. No texts from Kelsey. The next morning Diane made coffee and we sat at her kitchen table the way we used to when we were girls. She asked what I planned to do. I said I didn't know yet. I said the footage was still on the tablet and in my email and on her computer now too. I said I would decide when I was ready. 2 days later Derek showed up at Diane's door. He looked smaller somehow. He asked if we could talk. Diane stayed in the next room with the door open. Derek sat on the edge of the couch and said Kelsey had packed a bag too. He said she was staying with her mother for a while. He said the kids were asking where Grandma went. He said he had watched the video again and he didn't have any good answers. I listened. I didn't interrupt. When he finished I told him the truth as I saw it. I told him that throwing away someone's medicine is not help. I told him that cleaning up after it is not love. I told him I was not going to live in a house where my life was treated like an inconvenience that could be thrown in the trash on a Wednesday morning. He nodded like he understood, but I could see he was still trying to find a way to make it smaller than it was. I didn't give him one. I stayed with Diane for 3 weeks. In that time I saw my own doctor. I got new prescriptions written and filled at a different pharmacy closer to her house. I slept. I walked around the block without anyone timing how long I was gone. Derek called every few days. Sometimes he put the kids on the phone. Mason asked when I was coming back to make the chocolate chip cookies I always made on Sundays. Ava just said she missed me and then went quiet. On the 22nd day I went back to the house on Maple Court. Derek had asked me to. Kelsey was not there. The kids were at school. The house smelled like lemon cleaner. My room was the same, but the cabinet where the pills used to live was empty. Derek had moved a small lockbox onto the counter. He said the key was mine and only mine. We sat at the kitchen table. He asked if I wanted to stay. I told him I would stay for the kids, for now, but the cameras would stay on and I would keep copies of everything. He nodded. He didn't argue. That evening the front door opened and Kelsey walked in with a suitcase. She looked at me standing by the sink and for a second neither of us spoke. Then she said she was sorry. The words came out then, like she had practiced them in the car. I listened. I did not say it was okay. I did not say I forgave her. I just told her the medicine stays where I put it and the cameras stay on, and if anything like that morning ever happens again I will not walk to the pharmacy. I will walk straight to the police station with the footage in my hand. She nodded. She carried her suitcase upstairs. Derek followed her. I stayed in the kitchen and took my evening pill with a glass of water. The house was quiet again, but it was a different quiet now. It was the quiet of people who finally understood that some lines, once crossed, stay crossed. I sat down at the table and opened the security app one more time. I watched the old clip from that Wednesday morning. Then I closed it and put the tablet away. Outside, the porch light clicked on the way it always did at dusk. Somewhere down the street a car door shut. Life on Maple Court kept moving the way it always had. I was still here. My heart was still beating. And the bottles were exactly where I left them.